Hello and welcome back to the channel as we get ready to take a look at the Jovita Idar quarter for the American Women's Quarter program. I just wanted to bring up the calendar to show once again where we are as far as getting caught up with all of the women's quarters. On the 13th, we will have Maria Tallchief quarter. On the 20th, we will have the Reverend Dr. Polly Murray quarter. On May 27th, while we are waiting for the Dr. Mary Edwards Walker to come in June, we're out of quarters to catch up on. So we will be doing an unboxing of the Harriet Tubman $1 commemorative proof coin and $half proof coin. And then on or around June 10th, we will do an unboxing, an actual unboxing for the Dr. Mary Edwards Walker quarter. Now, I'm going to repeat this again just because I want to make sure that it's understood. That quarter should be coming out the week of June 7th. I'm hoping that early on the 10th it will be delivered and I can get a video out quickly and still release the video at some point on June 10th or June 11th. If for whatever reason that quarter does not come in on the 10th, I will have a standby video of some sort ready to be released on the 10th. So we'll have to play it by ear when it comes to that. But then we are all done, all caught up, and we will just be waiting on future releases of the American Women's Quarter program. Anyhow, let's take a look at the life of Jovita Idar. Jovita Idar worked for her father's newspaper, La Crónica, in Laredo, Texas, where she wrote articles supporting the civil rights of Mexican Americans and challenging discrimination, educational inequality, and the suppression of Mexican culture. In 1911, she participated in the First Mexican Congress, which gathered to address issues affecting the Mexican community, such as education and economic discrimination. Her advocacy emphasized the importance of education for Mexican American culture. I just want to note, and I know I keep saying this in these videos, it's very important for people to maintain or keep a hold of their culture. For a lot of people, it's about identity. I mean, I'm American, fourth, fifth generation American. And I've had family come from so many different places, and parts of the family hold on to some of the culture. So there are certain traditions and things like that the family follows. But for the most part, because holding on to culture wasn't important to, I guess, my relatives, the generations that came before me, I personally don't hold on to a lot of culture. But I wish that for some of my nationalities, we did hold on to some of the culture. So I can see why holding on to culture is important for identity. In a notable act of courage, Jovita defended her newspaper's office when Texas Rangers came to shut it down because of its activism and critical stance against the oppression of Mexican Americans. She physically blocked the entrance, standing up to the Rangers and maintaining her ground. There's sort of and this is nobody's fault. It's not in 1911 or whatever year this took place. It's not the fault of Jovita Idar or the Mexican Americans, and it's not the fault of the Texas Rangers at the time. But there's a lot of animosity between people of Mexican heritage and the Texas Rangers for things that took place in the Old West, I'll call it. Time frame, I'm not sure, the late 1800s, 1880, 1870, maybe. Anyhow, in 1911, Idar founded La Liga Femenil Mexicanista, the League of Mexican Women, which focused on education and provided free instruction for Mexican American students, countering the educational neglect in Texas at the time. I don't know what the neglect was. I imagine that language barrier was part of it. I imagine that at the time they were probably strict on we only speak English. We don't cater to students that don't understand English, things like that. Throughout her life, Jovita Idar continued to use her voice and skills in various roles, including as a nurse during the Mexican Revolution and later as an editor and writer for various newspapers, always focusing on issues of justice and equality for Mexican Americans. And her lifespan was 1885 to 1946. And that's just a brief bio on who she was and what she stood for. Now, taking a look at the image of the quarter, this is really, really different. As you can see, I don't even know what to make of it. I should love it because the way I always talk about how people fill the field with too much stuff. But in this instance, there's a lot going on here. Somewhere in there, and I believe that you can see up at the top where her collar is, it says Mexican American rights. Somewhere also in there, it says teacher. I see it there on the left-hand side, uh, right below where it says $quarter on her right shoulder. It says nurse in there someplace. It says Evolucion, Astrea, El Heraldo Cristiano, La Cruz Blanca, Journalist, La Crónica, El Progreso, La Liga Femenil Mexicanista, $quarter, which we pointed out. E Pluribus Unum is sort of at the bottom of her chest, right above United States by her clasped hands. And of course, we know E Pluribus Unum means out of many, one. United States of America at the very bottom. And then it says mint and mint mark, and I don't think that's in there. I think that's on the other side. I don't see a mint mark. And I also did not put on here who the artist and who the sculptor and the designer were. And I will get that information as we go take a look at the actual quarter itself. So let's jump over to the microscope and get a closer look at the physical quarter. And here we are looking at the actual quarter itself. As you can see, usually the thing I complain about, once again, is how they just cram so much into the field and take up every inch of the field. And on this, instead of cramming everything into the field, they've crammed everything into 1/3 of the field. I think it's a nice looking coin. I don't think I'm thrilled with the design. It's just word art. In fact, I did a little bit of research to try to figure out where the initials were. And right down here, hold on, I'm going to go over here. At the bottom, if you can see where the pen is pointing to, are the initials JPM, and that stands for John P. McGraw. And he was the sculptor, but there's nobody credited with being the designer. So I don't know if he designed it and sculpted it, but wouldn't they give him both credits? I don't know if AI designed it. I don't know who the designer was. But like I said, it's just word art. It's a nice looking coin, but I am not overly impressed. I think there's too much going on. I think that if you are a tourist coming to this country and you're exchanging money and somehow in change you get this coin, you're going to get frustrated trying to figure out what the denomination is. Of course, I can see $quarter right there, but we just looked at a bigger blow up. But if you're new, you're nervous because you're here, you have all this change in your hand, you're trying to figure out how much it's worth. You have a bunch of things going through your head. How are you going to get to the next place or whatever's going on? I don't know that just $quarter there on the right shoulder is clear enough that this is convenient. But that's just my opinion. Other than that, like I said, I think it's a nice looking coin. John P. McGraw sculpted it. No idea who designed it. John P. McGraw is also the person that sculpted the Anna May Wong quarter. Anyhow, so yeah, that's what the Jovita Idar quarter looks like in real life, in real person. Let's jump back to the desktop. And just before we go, a quick glance back at the calendar to see what's coming up. I'd like to thank everybody for watching this video. Remember, if you have any questions, comments, or criticisms, please leave them in the comment section down below or send them to the email address that is also in the description down below. Once again, if anybody is interested in a Jovita Idar quarter, the first 5 or 10 people that send me their contact info to the email address listed in the description, I will get off Philadelphia Mint quarter for you to enjoy. Anyhow, thanks again, and I hope that you all have a great week.